Leo Fa'amulia Asanati Lole-Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable members, today I want to talk about an issue of concern, and that issue is crime. It is crime, Mr. Bell. We are all very aware that some of our citizens fail to behave in accordance with the law. So New Zealand, like every society, has to live with a certain amount of illegal and dysfunctional behaviour. Human perfection is not likely to happen anytime soon. Accordingly, our society must be able to marshal such levers as will influence people to abide by the law. So these points need to be made because right now in New Zealand, it is plain that many of those who break the law in a serious way are getting an uncertain message of how unacceptable their behaviour is to law-abiding society. Let me mention a few recent examples. Darren Murphy Fiddle, age 18, brutally attacked an 82-year-old woman. He was only sentenced to 11 months home detention. Second, John Richard Cox, 6 months home detention and 150 hours community work for claiming tax for clients without knowledge, which amounted to a fraud of well over $400,000. Eru Michael Timothy, 27, factory worker, had sex with an under-8-year-old girl for over a year, knowingly that it was illegal. Sentenced to 200 hours community work and 18 months intensive supervision. Now, it would be inappropriate for me to comment in detail on any specific criminal case, but what is apparent is a clear pattern of extremely serious crime resulting in sentences that will strike most New Zealanders as lenient. Justice must be done, and it must be seen to be done. We place great trust in our judiciary. We do. And those appointed to the judiciary in New Zealand are people of the highest calibre. But ultimately, if people believe sentences do not reflect the harm that individuals and society has suffered, confidence in the whole judiciary process will suffer. Has the government directed judges to avoid prison sentences because of the cost and serious overcrowding? That's a good question for the Minister to answer. The public are rightly concerned and what appears to be a lenient sentences and are questioning the validity of our court system. The public can be forgiven for their scepticism. They can be forgiven. Is something going on here? What are we not being told? Is lenient sentencing a covert way of saving money? Is leniency an undeclared way of keeping prison population down? Is it? What we do know is this: the public take crime very, very seriously. New Zealand First takes crime very, very seriously. In relation to crime, Mr. Speaker, we must all stand together. We must. Earlier this week, we watched with horror on television the chase that started from Oporiki all the way up to the North Auckland. That chase took almost 3 hours and shut down the motorway for 14 hours. New Zealand, 14 hours, Mr. Banks. You remember something now? New Zealand First wants to commend the New Zealand Police for their handling of their extremely dangerous situation. But it does raise yet more concerns. Let me put it in plain language. It means the Minister is asleep at the wheel. It is. And I'm speaking up so that you can hear, because you can only remember half of the story, Mr. Bank. It means our police force is under-resourced. It means our community safety is hugely compromised. It means the Minister and the government are turning a blind eye to the huge number of unreported incidents, unrecorded crime, because there is just not enough police. There's just not enough police to cope with the demand. So stop boasting on about your crime rate coming down, because we've got prisons overflowing with prisoners. New Zealand still has one of the highest number of incarceration rates in the world. How can our prisons be overflowing if the crime rate is coming down? How can you expect the prisons to be overflowing with prisoners?
Order. Order. I apologise for interrupting the member. The member's time has expired. Honourable John Banks.
Soul-destroying rank from